The wrong way to make a ginger syrup is by dicing up a bunch of ginger, throwing it into a pot, adding a lemon if you're so inclined, throwing in some water and boiling it. That doesn't work because A, the heat and the acid are destroying the compounds that make ginger pungent. They're also destroying the health benefits. And the compounds in ginger that are related to capsaicin that you find in hot pepper are not soluble in water. So it's really hard to get a good extract using water. And again, the heat destroys the compounds, so what's the point? So there is a better method, and they created it at the soda fountains back in the 1800s. The chemists have basically perfected it. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. I'm Darcy O'Neill, this is Art of Drink, and today I'm going to show you how to make a ginger syrup the way the chemists at the soda fountain did back in the 1800s. Now the thing with boiling this, I understand that, for ginger beer and historically that was the best way to help preserve it by killing off any pathogens in your syrup, and that increased the shelf life. But we don't necessarily need to do that. This method uses alcohol to extract the ginger compounds, and because these ginger compounds, which again are related to capsaicin in hot peppers, they're not soluble in water. So even though you have a lot of ginger in there, you're not getting the extract. So that's why most people put an excessive amount of ginger into their pot and basically juice it. One of the things I do when I make my videos is I always do a little research to make sure that what I'm showing you is safe and healthy. I don't want to give you bad information that's going to harm anybody. So luckily I have access to a university database online, so I can look up a lot of research papers. And one of the things I discovered when I was going through this is that ginger is undergoing a lot of research right now for cancer prevention and a whole lot of other illnesses, gastrointestinal and such. But one of the problems is that the ginger compounds can't be cooked. So this method using alcohol extracts them and preserves them. So if you're at all interested in that, I'm not a health channel, we're not going to get deep into that, but it was a point that I felt I needed to make because it does change the perception of all these recipes on YouTube talking about making healthy ginger stuff, but they're basically boiling and destroying the compounds. Now the recipe is really simple. We're just going to use powdered ginger and some fresh ginger. Now before you think that using powdered ginger is cheating or something, you need to realize that powdered ginger, the compounds don't necessarily degrade, they just change subtly. And one of the neat things is that gingerol in fresh ginger changes into a compound called Shogal, which is on the Scoville scale 160,000. And just for a reference point, capsaicin, the compound in peppers, hot peppers, is 16 million. Gingerol is 60,000, and if you cook it, it goes down to 30,000. So it's actually beneficial to use this. And if you're, again, into the health things, Shogal is one of the key components that they're looking at in cancer research and other research. The research is starting to show that it's even better than the gingerol in fresh ginger. And that makes it nice and easy for us because we can basically take this powdered ginger, mix it with the fresh ginger. So I just grated 1 ounce of fresh ginger to 2 ounces of powdered ginger. And then you add some of your alcohol just to moisten it, and you get this kind of, obviously mealy. You don't want any drips or puddles in that bowl. And you do want to use like a glass bowl. Sometimes some of this stuff can react with a metal bowl. Stainless steel should be fine, but now what we're going to do is we're going to pack it into this percolator. And if you're not familiar with the percolator, I've done a video on it. It's just basically the piece of equipment that pharmacists used back in the 1800s. Really simple to use, and it produces excellent extracts. Take a look at this video. I linked it up in the corner if you don't understand this. But it's basically a self-filtering way of making an extract without maceration. Because macerating fine ginger powder is going to be a real pain. It's just going to clog your coffee filters and stuff. So this is the better method. As the alcohol slowly works its way down, once it reaches the bottom and starts to drip, we'll close this off. But if you're making a half a pint of solution, you're only going to need 1 ounce for a liter of syrup, maybe 2 ounces. Again, it's always going to depend on whether you want it hot and spicy or more of a ginger flavor. For 1 liter of syrup, you're going to add 1 to 2 ounces of this extract. Now, obviously, you can add flavor modifiers to this. You can add actual, capsaicin. You'd usually add just like a 1/8 of a teaspoon because it's quite potent. You can add that to this, or you can add stuff like cage put, which is similar to ginger, but it just has a different flavor, more pungency. You can add lemon. Often though, you can add lemon peel to this, dice it up, and put it in the percolator, or you can add lemon oil. Don't add any acid to the extract because again, the acid does have a tendency to degrade the components of the ginger, making them less pungent. So what you want to do is just keep your alcohol extract. You can add essential oils. When you're making your syrup, just add the essence straight to this. And then when you want to add acid, you can just add acid to the cocktail that you're making, whether you're using lemon juice, lime juice, or acid phosphate. Just put it in the glass, add your syrup, and then carbonated water or your spirits. And that's the best way to make the cocktail without destroying the components in your ginger. Now, even though we're doing an extract, it will come out hazy when you add it to your simple syrup. Again, these ginger compounds, you're extracting a lot of them. You're not going to be able to get them to dissolve in water. Luckily, simple syrups, at least half sugar, if not more. And sugar does act like a solvent, so you may get a slightly hazy syrup, but I've noticed that people don't seem to care if they've now come to this conclusion that if they're ordering a Moscow Mule, they're going to have ginger beer in it, and it's going to be slightly cloudy. Sometimes they'll use like ginger ale, and when you get ginger ales, they're perfectly clear, and that was kind of a point of pride at the old soda fountains in the 1800s, was making absolutely clear syrups. And they did that. Again, you'll have to watch the essence video. That's another video that I'll link up in the corner. Now, if you only have vodka to work with, you can add glycerin to the vodka to get it up to a higher strength. Again, I use 80%. I have a still. That's just what happened to come off at the still. I really should get it up to 95%, and I'll do that in the near future. But I do add some glycerin. Glycerin's really thick, and there's no way you can do a non-alcoholic extract like this. You may be able to do it with fresh ginger, but that's for another video. I do add some glycerin. It makes a good preservative. It's safe to use, and it mixes well with ethanol. And it's a good way to get your alcohol extract better if you're only using vodka. Now that the extract's nearing the bottom, we're just gonna leave this in overnight. So for this, they seem to require 24 hours. And then what you're gonna do is open the stopcock. It's going to drip very slowly, and that's what you want. And then you're going to let it drip until you collect, in my case, I'm making a half a pint with 2 ounces of this and 1 ounce of fresh ginger. So I'm gonna collect 240 mils, or basically half a pint. So now after 24 hours, this has all been properly percolated and drained. So you now have a concentrated extract of ginger. And just carefully remove that. And you'll see that it's slightly cloudy, and that's to be expected. You can filter this, and if you want a clear extract, you need to use the magnesium carbonate method, where you put an ounce of this into this. Give it a shake, let it sit for 24 hours, shaking it occasionally, and then filtering it. It will come out clear. However, you will lose some of the pungency of the ginger. And that's why old compounders used to always use cayenne pepper. And they'd put that into this, or they'd actually make a tincture with the cayenne pepper and doctor their ginger. In fact, if you go through some old recipe books, especially cocktail ones, you'll find that some ginger recipes for ginger syrup only contained pepper. So anything from the capsicum family, and did not contain any ginger. But this is all ginger, and now it's pretty simple to make a syrup. All we're gonna do is add 1 ounce of our, let's give this a spin. We got 1 ounce, and that goes straight into the bottle. And that is basically your ginger syrup. All you need to do is give it a shake every once in a while. It's relatively clear. It won't get any clearer than this most likely, but that's much clearer than the ginger broths most people make. And if you need to add a second ounce to this, you can do so. You can add as much as you want, in all honesty. I'm sure you want to know how it tastes. I mean, you'll actually have to make it to find out, but I give you a quick review here. It's quite good. It really does have that ginger flavor, and it really does have that pungency. And you use a lot less ginger making this, and anytime you want to make a liter of this, you just use 1 ounce of your extract. That means in an 8-ounce bottle, you can make 8 liters of this, and it's literally 1 ounce of this into the bottle, shake, and it clears up pretty nicely. No longer do you have to grate ginger, slice it up. Oh, and a note, you should always take the peel off your ginger. It has a resin that adds a negative flavor to syrups, and it causes it to go really dark. So if you're doing it this way, you can upscale this however you want. You can make a liter of extract by just quadrupling this recipe, and then you'll be able to make 32 liters of ginger syrup. It's as easy as 1 ounce into a liter of syrup, shake, and you literally have a syrup here that's nicely emulsified, much clearer, much more appealing to the eye. No longer looks like a ginger slurry being put into a cocktail. And the one thing, this is going to be shelf stable for months, if not years. Whereas the cooked stuff, though it's cooked and heat treated, all the compounds in it will degrade and they will become bitter over time. That's just a natural thing when you have excess mass in a syrup. You should be able to do this easily, and it makes a much better product. So, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you next time.